Still in the middle of chapter 8, Unearthing Secrets, and I'm so excited to find out what happens. So, they were in the middle of digging, and the police came, and Pigeon told them a story last time that got them to go away. So, they did the swap as the 49er. Nate dug more, working his way around the vault, creating a space for him to chip away. And finally, after relentlessly digging, he found a box. He It was an ivory box, and he scrambled over the edge of the hole, and Trevor climbed part way down the least sheer side of the hole, meaning the least deep, and accepted both the shovel and the rectangular box. Nate adjusted the lid as tightly as he could, and then used the pickaxe as a climbing tool to emerge from the hole. Having not exited the hole since commencing the project, he was impressed by the quantity of earth they had mounded. "Fill it in and let's get out of here," Summer said. "It's almost 2:30 in the morning." Nate started with the shovel, but soon he was racing around the perimeter of the hole, hurling in armfuls of soil. He would get low to the ground, spread his arms, turn his legs, and bulldoze sizable piles into the void all at once. Then he would turn around, bend over, and scoop dirt backwards, arms pawing tirelessly. Trevor helped him with the shovel, and Summer kicked at the dirt as well, but it was Nate, using the 49er to wrestle earth into the hole, that got the job done. In the end, it looked different. Too much of the dirt had dispersed too wildly as Nate had chucked it skyward during his digging. Staring, they could see how obvious it would be that they had been there. Trevor walked over to Summer. "What do we do?" he asked. She surveyed the area. "Nothing. Had we been thinking, we would have cut out squares of grass at the start and set them aside and laid them back down now. At least we got the box and pretty much filled it back in. We better get out of here." "Did I wake you up, Nate?" Trevor asked. The 49er bobbed his head. Nate felt the rush of wind against his eyeball and was once again back in his own body. He was already back to his original self. Trevor and Nate hauled the 49er back up to Hanover's tombstone. Then they went and found Pigeon sleeping beside the supply shed. They woke him up, retrieved their bikes, and rode home. So that's the end of chapter 8, and I'm going to start chapter 9, Clean Slate. Nate stood at the front of Mount Diablo Elementary, watching from beneath an overhang as rain streaked down, wondering why white sidewalks turned brown when they became wet. It's kind of a good question. A nearby gutter funneled a steady flow of water from the roof. Great pools had formed in the overcrowded parking lot, where kids were trying to leap into cars without dousing their shoes. The rain had caught him unprepared. There had been a few clouds in the sky when his mom drove him to school. The day had grown overcast by first recess, then the rain began around lunchtime, accompanied by prolonged growls of thunder. Although the thunder had passed, a ceiling of murky cloud stretched to all horizons. Trevor exited the main office and trotted over to Nate. "My mom is coming," he said. "She'll take all of us." "At least somebody still has parents," Nate said. He and Pigeon had both already tried to phone home and reached only voicemail. "I'm surprised none of our families knew the rain was coming," Pigeon said. "Plenty of kids brought raincoats and umbrellas." "Mrs. White should start printing the forecast on her fudge boxes," Summer proposed. Trevor shifted his backpack on his shoulders. "What should we do about the thingy we found? The previous night after returning, they had unfastened the clasp on the ivory box and opened it, and inside, bundled in silky fabric, they found what looked like a little golden spyglass. When they had looked through the spyglass, whatever image they focused on was fractured into fragments, as if someone had inserted kaleidoscope mirrors into a telescope. Upon further examination they had discovered no other clues in the box, among the silken wrappings, or on the view-warping spyglass. "We go home, get dressed for the weather, and meet on the path by the nest," Nate said. "I still say we take the telescope apart," Summer insisted. "And I still say it isn't made to dismantle or take apart easily," Nate said. "It seems too fancy. Sorry, I lost my spot. With mirrors or whatever inside, we'll mess it up." Summer crossed her arms. "I don't want to rely on Mrs. White. I want to see the clues myself." "If we could see screws or something, we'd give it a try," Trevor said. "I agree with Nate." Sorry, guys. What's going on? Sorry. I agree with Nate. Me too, Pigeon said quietly. Okay, have it your way, Summer relented, but if Mrs. White claims she found a clue on the inside of the telescope telling us to rob a church, I'm turning in my candy. Nate shrugged. He gave Pigeon a playful shove. I saw you dozing in class, he said, not that Miss Doolan noticed. I couldn't keep my eyes open for a while there, Pigeon confessed. I hope next time Mrs. White gives us an assignment, we can do it during the day. Have you guys seen Denny or Kyle or Eric? Summer asked. I saw Kyle on my way to school, Trevor said. He noticed me and avoided me. I think we're in the clear with them. Oh, speaking of that, did I tell you guys I saw the guy with the overcoat? No, where? Summer asked. I was at the Colson General Store yesterday with my mom. He was sitting by the entrance reading a paper and keeping an eye on everyone. Mrs. White was right that he's definitely up to something. I forgot to tell you guys last night. Did you play it cool? Nate asked. I think so, Trevor said, but he gave me a look that made me nervous. Hopefully it was just in my head. They stood listening to the patter of the rain, watching cars in the parking lot dwindle. Mrs. Doolan scurried over to her little hatchback without a coat, holding a leather satchel over her head, and entered through the passenger door to avoid the puddle on the other side. Sorry, my cat just fell. Over on the other side. You guys stranded? A mellow voice asked from behind them. They turned. It was Gary Haig, the custodian. Nate had seen him around a few times. He was a thin guy in his early 30s with a wispy mustache and a light brown mullet that dangled to the base of his neck in straggly curls. He wore a denim jacket decorated with images doodled in black ink. A Viking ship, a frowning snowman, a dollar sign made out of cobras. Homer Simpson's head, a snowflake, a scuba diver, a pair of dice, a curved sword, a biplane, an algebra equation, a hamburger, a ring with at least 20 keys dangling from his belt. My mom's coming, Trevor said. Oh, right on. I was feeling bad for you guys, Gary said, brushing hair out of his eyes. I was going to find you a ride or something. He looked up at the gray clouds. You're not dressed to walk home, and that rain's not letting up any time soon. That's nice of you, Summer said. We'll be all right. How you been doing, Pigeon? Gary asked. Good, Pigeon said. Right on. Gary stood with his hands on his waist, examining the sky. You ever wonder if the clouds are really just hiding alien spaceships like in that movie? I mean, this could be a full-on invasion. Nate could think of a few movies Gary might be referencing. It's a big storm, he said to fill the silence. Gary nodded. Don't you wish rain would fall from normal-sized clouds? You know, here and there, a little at a time? You might even be able to get out of the way if you stayed on your toes, but nope. All we get is some mega cloud that blankets the whole state. I bet you couldn't even get out of the way in a Ferrari. Nate glanced sideways at Trevor, who raised his eyebrows. Pigeon scratched his scalp. Summer stared at her feet. Gary let out a prolonged sigh. Well, I have a bunch of stuff to do. He jangled his keys. Going to be a soggy ride home. Hope your mom stashed a life raft in the trunk. Keep it real. He sauntered away down a covered walkway. Is that guy okay? Nate asked in a low voice. Gary's nice, Trevor said. He can be kind of odd. There's Mom. Trevor's mom was driving along Oak Grove Avenue in a dark blue sedan. She turned into the parking lot and pulled up alongside the curb. Trevor climbed in to the front seat while the others piled in the back. His mom had curly dark hair and a darker complexion than her son. It's really coming down, she said. Thanks for picking us up, Summer said. My pleasure, Trevor's mom said, pulling out of the parking lot. Nate, you're on Monroe? Right, Nate said. She wove around a slow-moving pickup. We all live so close we should carpool in the mornings. The wipers were on high mode, pushing away each new bombardment of raindrops an instant after they splattered against the glass. Nate found himself entranced by the motion and wondered how Trevor's mom kept her concentration on the road. The sedan splashed through the edge of a huge puddle, sending up an impressive fan of water. Awesome, Trevor said. They went to Summer's house first, pulling into an empty driveway. She waved and used a key to let herself in. They returned to Main, hung a right on Greenway, and turned into the presidential estates, the rain still pouring. After dropping off Pigeon, they swung around to the other side of the circle and let Nate out. Simply running from his car to his porch, Nate got surprisingly wet. He did not carry a key, but knew where the hidden spare was tucked. He tried the knob and found the door unlocked. Nate swiveled and waved, but Trevor's car was just pulling out of sight. Mom, he called. In here, she answered from the family room. Nate found her on the couch in front of the television. Where were you? He asked. I tried to call. The rain had us trapped at school. I'm sorry, she said. I wasn't thinking. Looks like you found a ride. Trevor's mom. I was looking into joining a health club. his mom said. "Did you know I've put on 6 pounds since I started eating your fudge?" "Maybe you should stop eating it," Nate said. "I can't," she said, making wide, guilty eyes. "Neither can your dad. Cheryl eats her fair share as well. It's like we're stuck in a fanatical fudge phase." "Did you join the club?" Nate asked. "Nope, they kept pressuring me. They wanted me to sign a 2-year contract, so I went and got a few exercise DVDs instead. I got back not 5 minutes ago." "Okay, I'm gonna go change. I'm supposed to meet Pigeon." "Doing homework?" "We have an assignment to finish," Nate said, and rushed up the stairs. So that's the first break in this chapter. So I'm going to stop there and read more next time.